Well, it's another good time again. We want to look at the bicameral system of assembly in Kenya. Is it aligned with the constitution? What we mean by bicameral assembly is simply that in the bicameral system, uh, this is where uh, parliament consists of the Senate and the National Assembly. That is what a bicameral system is. This has worked in well in many places, but what is in Kenya and what is actually in the constitution? The constitution of Kenya, Article 93, in chapter 8, 93, Article 93 says that there is a separate parliament of Kenya, which shall consist of the National Assembly and the Senate. The National Assembly and the Senate shall perform their respective functions in accordance with this constitution. That is what the constitution says clearly about the Senate. So when we talk about parliament in Kenya, we mean the two houses, the Senate and the National Assembly. Now, what is the role of parliament? Section 95 says the role of the National Assembly. It gives, now the National Assembly is one of the houses. That the National Assembly represents the people of the constituencies and the special interests in the National Assembly. The National Assembly deliberates on and resolves issues of concern to the people. The National Assembly enacts legislation in accordance with Section 4. So that is what the role of the National Assembly is. I think I talked about the role of, this is basically the role of parliament in general. The legislative authority of the republic is derived from the people. Parliament manifests diversity. Parliament may consider and pass amendments to the constitution. So all of them, as we read here, all of them are aimed at making laws. But then there are some of the glaring areas that we saw this, like recently, MPs reject senators' proposal to increase county allocation to 415 billion. So why did they reject that? And one thing you have to know, that in the constitution, actually, all of the laws are passed, all of the bills are passed in the National Assembly. They don't need approval from the Senate. That the Senate can only come in when the bills are concerning the counties. So laws that require consideration by both houses of parliament are, according to Article 109 of the Constitution, any bill that concerns county government originate in either house or require consideration by both houses. Consideration. Before the introduction of a bill that would require passage in both houses, the Speaker of both houses of parliament consult and determine whether the bill concerns county government. Bills that concern county government include a bill containing provision affecting the functions and power of the county government, a bill relating to the election of members of a county assembly, or a bill referred in chapter 12 affecting the finances of county assembly. What? So The Senate is, to me, looks like a small house is somewhere in a corner, only dealing with the counties. Is it supposed to be called really the upper house? Did the framers of the Constitution miss something? When it says that oral registration, why didn't they put it clearly that the motion is supposed to pass in all houses? Where do we start having the problem? Let's go back. From the beginning, Kenya, during colonial time, it had what we call the Legislative Council, LEGCO. It started with only whites, then Indians were adopted in, and then Africans were also included. And then finally, in 1957, they elected 8 Africans to the LEGCO. That was the first in 1957. Each province had one representative. Tom Mboya from Nairobi, Bernard Mate from, I think, Bernard Mate was from Central Province, I think. And we had also Oginga Odinga from Nyanza Central, and the northern Nyanza was Masinde Muriro. Moi was from Rift Valley, and the Katanangara was from Coast. So that was the legislative body at that time. So the Lancaster House, when we got independence, that is from what we generally call the Lancaster Conference, which ushered in a new constitution, which was bicameral. And in that constitution, we were supposed to have the National Assembly consisting of the Senate and the House of Representatives. It comprised of 41 senators representing 40 administrative districts of Nairobi, 115 House of Representative constituency members, and 12 special. That was the new. So we had a Senate. We had both a Senate and a House of Representatives at independence. This was the funny thing. This first Senate, which was anchored on this constitution, it clearly stated that, but the powers of Parliament to make laws shall be exercisable by the bills passed by both houses of the National Assembly and assented to by Her Majesty or by the Governor General or on behalf of the Majesty. A bill other than money bill may originate in either house of the National Assembly, but a money bill may originate only in the House of Representatives. I don't know why they were putting that, but that is what clearly was in that Senate. Any bill had to pass through this, had to be approved by both houses. That is where we started. Very nice. Only money bill, I don't know, but I have compared other countries also, like Australia, the same way. I don't know why they wanted the money bill to be from the lower house. Now, but in that assembly, the Senate had maintained its upper position. So the bills were going through. But then what happened? In 1966, the Senate was disbanded. Which disbanded the bill? It was Kenyatta wanted to consolidate power, so he did away with the 2 houses. It was amalgamated, and the story died in Dodo. So then now, where is the problem? Does it go well with the Constitution? The Constitution says that both the Senate and the Parliament, the National Assembly, need to work together. But then in the Constitution, somebody had put it that the Senate can only debate things concerning the counties. Are we wasting money paying senators? It could have been a good checks and balances, more especially the runaway members of parliament in the National Assembly. Listen, what happened recently when they were impeaching Rinturi? It has been alleged that they were bought and they went free. At least if something was on the Senate, it could have saved that. Now, it behoves me that this is how the legislative process in Kenya goes. The bill has to be introduced in the National Assembly. It has a first reading, second reading, it goes to committee stage. From the committee, it goes to report stage, it goes to the third reading, and probably then it goes to the president for assent. That is what happens. Now, let us consider one of the greatest democracies. I mean, we don't want to be like the United States of America has had a bicameral system. United Kingdom has a bicameral system. Australia has that. Canada has that, and many other countries. But let's consider what happens in the United States. In the United States, this is how the bill has to go through both houses. It can start with either from the Senate or from the House. So if a bill is introduced in the House by a member of the House, then the bill will start with HR, saying that the House of Representatives. But if it starts from the Senate, it has to start with the S and the number given. So when it comes there, it is sent to the committee or a desk for coroner. A committee takes action, looks at it, and deliberates on it. Hears, makes some changes, then vote to report bill. Once it has been voted in the committee, then it is taken to the floor, and then it refers to the House rules, and it is debated, and then it is voted. If it passes the House, then it won't just become law. It goes to the Senate. And then in the Senate, it has to go through the same procedure. It will be sent to the committee. The committees will look at it. Then they will vote for it. Once they vote or reject it, if they vote for it in the floor, then now the conference resolving differences if necessary, and then it will go to the president for signing. The president can veto it, and then it becomes law, gets codified and things. All the bills have to go through the same process. That is in the United States. And that's why there is a checks and a balance. Because what is so different? Let's look at the Constitution of the United States. Article 1, Section 1 says, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in Congress of the United States, which shall consist of Senate and House of Representatives. Almost the same way with the one in Kenya. Now, Article 1, Section 7, then it says, all bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendment as on other bills. I don't know what is wrong with this. Okay, even the United States, you can see that all the bills concerning money has to arise from the House of Representatives. There should be something very special about it. But now, why is it that there is too much arrogance? Did we miss something in the Constitution? Because what is the Senate doing all that if they are not considering those laws? And they seem to be trashed by the National Assembly. Did we miss something? Do we need to do something about the Constitution? What happened? And let's go and do some, like in some other countries, we have different countries which have this structure of parliament. Afghanistan, it has House of the People and the House of Elders. And Nigeria has a National People's Assembly and the Council of the Nation. Going Australia, Argentina has a jump of deputies and the Senate. Australia has House of Representatives and the Senate, like Kenya. Austria has National Council and the Federal Council. Those are some of the few countries, I would say, which Brazil has Chamber of Deputies and the Federal Senate. Burundi has a National Assembly and the Senate, just like us. Canada has House of Commons and the Senate. Those are some of the major countries. United Kingdom has House of Commons and House of Lords. But do we really need to waste our people, very intelligent people? And I will tell you that the Senate, the Kenyan Senate, has the brightest, smartest people in on the Senate who know what they're doing. Most of them have been members of parliament. And then now they come to the Senate and they find that a Senate is an empty shell. See people who are there who talk sense there, like Chiragay, we have Bone Alware, we have Sifuna, we have Okio Mutata, very smart people. Why should we leave the bills only get passed by members of parliament? It is either we need to do an amendment or we need to disband the Senate, because that is wasting people's money if they are not doing anything. Why are we electing them to only? Let me ask you, what is that you are, if members of parliament are passing a bill about water still affects counties. Education still affects the counties. So every bill which is passed in the assembly affects counties. How would they reject the financial bill to increase money to counties? That is showing arrogance. And this is something which needs to be done. Is there a problem? When people were putting this constitution, did somebody meet this very important issue? And one of the worst things we did, we made a new constitution, but we left old parliament to enact the constitution. That's one of the mistakes we made at that time. We had all these, but this constitution really needs, if we have to, we can't be paying a lot of money to senators for doing nothing, for being idle. We need to model this on Westminster, that the motion, the bill has to pass through both houses. Like that example in the US. Take, for example, in Canada. In Canada, where we do have the also in Canada we have the two chambers. Canada has also two chambers where we have the House of Commons and the Senate. House of Commons are elected, but the Senate, they are nominated by the Governor General on the advice of the Prime Minister. So, but they have to be selected from different provinces to make to that. So these are people who are elected, appointed, and they have to serve for life until they reach the age of 75. So they are appointed. But in Kenya, the senators are elected, popularly elected to that office. And we elect the people, they go sit there without doing registration, that they are only waiting for the people from the National Assembly making only, they are making rules for themselves. No, something needs to be done. There's something seriously wrong there that we need. This is all what, even during the Lancaster conference, Kanu never wanted the Senate. It is Kadu, which was championing smaller tribes, that we nominate people from those small tribes, which was a good idea, that every district had to elect one person to the upper house to contain the excesses of parliament. But they disbanded it. It was a good idea. It had the deed that all of the motions other than money bills was to be approved by the two houses before it becomes. But the 2010 constitution made something very bad which needs to be looked at. If there is an amendment which needs to be done in Kenya, but still, it is not even a constitution, because it is the standing orders which were put place by the old parliament, which is haunting that country up to now. Either it needs to be interpreted that every bill that it needs to be changed, that every bill has to go through the two houses to make it. That is when we know that the Kenyans are getting a share of their money. I hope this helps, and seriously, something needs to be done. Thank you for listening.